My Name is Not Easy by Debbie Dahl Edwardson. Never Cry, September 6, 1960. Luke. Sacred Heart School is gray and shadowy, crouching in the trees like a big blocky animal. I don't like the look of those trees either, especially not in the dark. They're black and grasping, and they make strange flapping noises, like something mean's leaning over you, trying to suck the wind right out of you. How could a person even breathe here? Back home, it doesn't get dark so early in the day this time of year either, which makes this place seem really wrong. Me and Bunna and Isaac are just standing here in front of the school, staring. This place doesn't look anything at all like those schools in Life magazine. I can feel Mom's voice whispering deep down inside, take care of your brothers. Right now, all I want to do is grab my brothers and run. Bunna is staring into the tree-filled darkness with wide eyes. You think there's evil spirits in there? Bunna whispers, watching the branches swing back and forth in the wind and ducking his head like he's afraid one might reach out and try grab him. Nah, I say, there ain't, but I duck my head too for just a second. When we look up, we both see him at the same time, a skinny old priest. With his black clothes and claw-like hands, he looks like a big, bald-headed raven. Bet that's where them preachers live, I whisper, nodding at those trees. And suddenly that old guy looks really funny. Both me and Bunna see it at the same time, like he's pretending to be the kind of thing that would actually live in the middle of all those big black trees. Kind of thing that is scary and funny, both at the same time. Like a Puktalok, the costume contest back home, where old people dress up goofy and try to scare us and make us laugh, putting their parkas on inside out and dragging their arms across the floor like monsters learning to dance. The priest's nose is smashed up weird against his cheek, too, like he's got a nylon stocking on his face. And now I see he's wearing a black dress. I look at Bunna, and he looks at me, and we both start giggling. And every time we look at each other, we laugh harder, just like at Puktaluk. Even Isaac's laughing now, peeking out from under Bunna's arm. I don't think Isaac even knows what's so funny. All he knows is we're laughing, and sometimes, especially when you're scared, it's just good to laugh. Then that old priest speaks. How old is your brother? He asks, looking right at Isaac. Isaac, who isn't even 7 yet. It feels like everyone and everything has stopped breathing, even the trees. 6, Bunna squeaks before I can stop him. I see, the priest says. Don't like the sound of those words, because the way he says it means that whatever it is he sees, it's something bad, something that makes him herd us into the school, away from the other kids, like we're sick or something. Sit over there, the priest says, waving at a bench by the wall. We sit, like rocks in the river, watching kids moving past us, staring. The priest swoops off into a room across the hall, and a door shuts behind him with a snap. We sit on a hard bench, waiting. Feels like we wait forever. Finally, an old lady in a long white dress opens the door, and the priest sweeps past her without a word, throwing shadows up and down the hall. Your little brother is too young for Sacred Heart School, the lady tells us. They shouldn't have sent him. Her voice sounds soft and weak, like a scrawny seagull way up high, but her hand reaching for Isaac's shoulder is hard as a steel trap. There's a family in town where he can stay for a while until we get things sorted out. They're stealing Isaac. My heart starts to beat so fast, I'm sure I'm gonna choke. It's only temporary, she says. They're taking Isaac away forever. That's what she's really saying. I can feel it, but I don't speak. My throat is frozen. Another lady bursts out of the office, waving a piece of paper. This lady is big and solid and wears a skirt and sweater the color of ashes. The old lady looks at her. Father's gone to get the station wagon, she says. Father's gone to get the track. That's what she really means. Here's the affidavit, sister, the lady in gray says, handing the paper to the old lady. I watch the way sister holds that paper, reading it slowly, and I think about that word, affidavit. It's a word I never heard before. It's a permission form, Mildred, not an affidavit, sister says sharply, reading it slowly like she's looking for something bad. In loco parentis, she says. Good. Father will need to have it notarized, Mildred said, looking up. Oh, look, he's already got the car. Sister looks out the window, and I do too, still chewing on that stringy word, notarized. It looks like something that might hurt, or it sounds like something that might hurt. Outside, a long square car pulls up in front of the school. Come along then, Isaac, sister says, pulling Isaac by the shoulder. Me and Bunna start to follow, but she turns to look back at us, still clutching Isaac. You two, go with the other students, she says. We look back, but the others are gone. The hallway is empty and dark and full of nothing but whispery echoes and dark shadows. Sister looks back too, then nods. All right then, gentlemen, you two may follow. I'll get you settled after. After feels like a big black hole, and sister is perched on the edge of it, clutching Isaac. Isaac's eyes are spots of bright black terror. What am I going to do? We follow sister outside, where the one she calls father, the one with the squashed face, is sitting in that car, waiting. And before I even get a chance to move or call out, no, father reaches out, pulls Isaac into the car, and sister slams the door, stepping back, her white dress flapping in the night. He's got our baby brother. That priest has Isaac. Isaac is trying to pull away from him, all right, but he's too little. And I'm trying to run after him, but that old nun is clutching me now, her skinny fingers sharp as steel. That's enough, she says. He'll be fine. Her voice sounds just like a seagull circling above someone's meat rack, getting ready to steal. We watch as the car drives off, Isaac's face pressed up against the window, his eyes pleading, me standing there, helpless. What am I going to tell Mom? What the heck am I ever going to tell our mom? I was supposed to take care of my brothers. Bunna and I follow sister, like she says. The two of us pressed together tight, a broken fist of brothers. She takes us to the place where there's food and leaves us, still clinging together at the tail end of the food line. We're too scared to eat right now, but too hungry not to. I can still see Isaac's tear-streaked face pressed against the window of that car, like it's happening over and over, like time's folded in on itself, and part of me is always going to be trapped on this side of things, watching that car disappear into the dark woods with my little brother trapped inside. Gone. I'm starving, all right, but all I know right now is that hunger feels the same as fear, sitting in my stomach hard. They call the place where us kids are supposed to eat a cafeteria. It's big and square with long tables and steaming food, and it's got two sides, the Indian side and the Eskimo side. What about Isaac? Bunna whispers. Where's Isaac gonna eat? He's okay, I lie. They're gonna feed him better food where he's at. Like I know. The nun with the meat is tall enough to be one of the Inuktitut, one of big people, but I don't say this to Bunna. Don't touch the meat, I whisper. Bunna is really hungry, but he's scared enough to pull his tray back quick when I whisper it. I'm not sure what made me say it. I just don't trust this place, not even the meat, especially not the meat. Who knows where it comes from? No meat, the Inuktitut says. Her face looks confused. And even though she's very big, I see right away that her face is more of a girl's face, the kind of girl who's someone's friend. Are you boys sick? Maybe I ought to take you to the infirmary. Have you caught the flu? We never, I say. Bunna nods quick. We never. I don't know what the word infirmary I don't know that word, infirmary, and I don't like the sound of it either. Infirmary. Like some place where you get put into, maybe, like a cage or a net or a long square trap. The giant nun looks at the other nun, the old one with the seagull voice, and it seems like she's waiting to be told what to do. That's when Amik steps up behind us, grinning. I don't guess that kid ever quits grinning. Sister Mary Kate, these boys are members of the whale clan. They can't eat this kind of meat right here. His voice is smooth as water. Whale clan? I don't know what the heck a whale clan is. And by the look on her face, I'm guessing Sister doesn't know either. But Amik just smiles right up at her like she's his favorite aunt or something. They can't eat this food. He leans up real close to the nuns. You know, taboo. He whispers that word like he's telling her a secret. Oh, well, I see, Sister says quickly and blushes. Then she looks at Bunna's tray. Why, you didn't even get any milk, she says. Milk's good for you boys. You will drink some, won't you? Sister sounds so worried about it that I raise my eyebrows quick to say yes. I don't tell her we don't like milk, especially not Bunna. Milk always makes our stomachs hurt sometimes, especially Bunna's. Yes, she says anxiously. Sure, sister, Amik says. Lots of milk. When I catch Amik's eye, I have to look away quick because all of a sudden I don't have any control over my feelings. I might start crying or I might start laughing, and I can't tell which. Everything feels weird and scary and funny, all mixed up together. Us not eating meat and that old nun piling my plate sky high with string beans and carrots, and the way she watches Amik out of the side of her eye like he's a dog about to make a mess. When she hands him his plate, Amik looks at his food and says, Why, thank you, sister, smiling from ear to ear, like string beans and greasy carrots is the best kind of present a kid could ever get. And all of a sudden, I have to stare really hard at all those beans to keep from laughing, because if I start now, it's going to hurt. If I start now, I'm probably going to die laughing. Sometimes laughing is the worst kind of crying there is. Now you know how to take care of them nuns, Amik whispers as we walk away. He nods back at the tall nun and winks at the old one, his grin as sweet as cake. Winks. And for half a second, it looks like that old bird might even be trying to smile back. That's Amik. He's something else. What's a whale can? Bunna asks. Clan, says Amik. That's Indian talk. He nods over at the table where the Indian kids sit staring at us. This is Indian country, so we gotta talk that way sometimes. It's what them nuns understand. But how come you said we can't eat meat? Bunna asks, switching into Inupiaq. He looks first at Amik and then at me. That's a lie. We could eat meat anytime we want. Amik looks at me for a second and says, It's not a lie, smiling. You can tell Bunna's trying to figure this out. Amik looks like he's trying to figure it out too. You know how they have to keep ocean food separate from land foods, right? He says suddenly. Bunna nods. Everybody knows how in the ice cellar you have to store whale meat and caribou meat in separate rooms. That's true. You know what happens if you don't keep them separate? Bunna frowns. He doesn't know. You die, Amik says. Bunna snorts like he thinks it's a joke, but you can tell by his eyes that he isn't quite sure. Yeah, so how are we going to know how they store their meat? He says. That's right, Amik says, quick as anything. How are we going to know? I fill up my glass of milk, watching the nuns out of the side of my eye. Bunna fills his glass real slow. He's watching the nuns too, especially that big one, the Anukpasuk. They're gonna make us drink all of it? He asks. The milk looks lumpy. Chew, I said, shrugging. It won't hurt you. Why can't we just get meat instead? He asks. Them guys know how to keep meat, I bet. Don't matter how they keep their meat, okay? We still don't eat it. Bunna scowls. Horse meat, I hiss. They're trying to make us eat horse meat, okay? I'm talking in Inupiaq and say it hard, but as soon as the word leaves my mouth, I wish I never said it, because Bunna's mouth gets real small, like a little zero, and you could tell he's thinking about Roy Rogers and his horse Trigger, who is someone a person would never want to eat. I know I should tell him it's just a joke, but for some reason, I just don't want him touching that meat. I want to go home, Bunna whispers. Me too, I say loud and sharp, and we will, soon. Is it horse milk too? Of course not, I say, as if I know. We sit down at the table still talking, and I can feel them Indians watching, which is why I'm talking louder than usual and talking in Inupiaq too. I want them to wonder about what I'm saying, and I want them to know by the sound of my voice not to mess with me. I'm concentrating so hard I don't even notice that old priest, the one that took Isaac, hovering over top of us, tapping a ruler against the side of his hand like he's keeping count of something, tapping the whole room quiet until pretty soon it feels like everybody is holding their breath watching us. And what was your name again, young man? The priest says. The way he says it is like he's saying something else, something bad. Luke, I say. Amik behind him mouths the word father, then looks down quick. Father, I add quickly. Put your hands on the table, Luke, father says. I do what he says, and he slaps the back of my fingers with his ruler. Slaps them hard enough to make the sting run up and down the sides of my arm like lightning. Here we speak English, he says. I stare off into the cafeteria, my face blank. I will not cry. I will not cry. Yes, father, I say, looking down like I'm supposed to. I will never cry. Then, before father can say another word, Bunna grabs his milk and drinks the whole glass fast, lumps and all, gasping for air like his life depends on it.